Using timelines, this is how a timeline looks. You can Google for examples of timelines, especially for teaching tenses. I think it's very useful. It gives a visual representation of, how to use particular tense in context. Use drills very creatively. I mean, all that we know is we say something and learners repeat after us. Drill is not just that. For example, if you look at this example, the teacher says, I watched Harry Potter yesterday, and what the learners are supposed to do is ask a question for that. That's one way of using transformation drill. If you want to make it a little more challenging for, let's say, learners who are at a little better level, you could say a sentence, he's standing near the swimming pool, and the learners respond in their own way. So somebody says he's going to swim, he may swim, he might decide to spend time watching people swim. And this is also useful, to cater to a mixed ability classroom. I think some of you asked questions how to cater to mixed ability classroom. And so this gives freedom to learners, and they give responses based on their own understanding and language development. This also practices grammar, of course. So you're going to, like, to be, going to, may is talking about probability, using may, might, etc. Okay. Use chunks. Especially younger learners, they are not very, they're not bothered about grammar, to be honest. For them, meaning is more important. So if you tell them, how are you? And they'll say, I'm fine, thank you. They don't understand its subject, verb, object, other words. They will never understand it's a question word, and it ends with a question mark. No, they're not bothered with that. So they will take how are you as one word, as one chunk that they can use. So if you use a lot of these chunks, especially for beginners, I think the more they use these chunks, they will get registered in their brain, in their mental, as part of their mental grammar, mental vocabulary. And then they're able to retrieve that because they use it so often that they become a natural part of their language system. So use these chunks, introduce them. You can display them in the classrooms, for example. Use pictures and drawings, very useful. You can use it for vocabulary learning, speaking. For example, you can reveal the picture bit by bit to arouse interest among learners. Say, okay, what do you think you will see? What do you think you might see? And the learners will say, okay, there might be, or whatever. And then you may ask questions about the characters or about the people in the picture. Why do you think this old man looks, why do you think he looks sad? Well, he looks sad because this boy might be troubling him, or why do you think the boy is happy? He's happy because, he finally gets to spend some time with his grandfather. Things like that. I think this is also kind of to develop their creative thinking and practice grammar, and obviously speaking. So grammar, vocabulary, speaking, we can't really take them as standalone. They're all interlinked. So when you're doing one thing, you're not just catering to teaching grammar or learning grammar, but also grammar or vocabulary and speaking as well. So everything is interlinked basically. Use stories. Another story building activities wherein again grammar, but at the same time also speaking. Let's say one story building activity that you can do is unfortunately, fortunately, where you divide the class into two groups. One group is fortunately, the other group is unfortunately. Everybody that is fortunately starts their sentence with fortunately. Everybody who's unfortunately starts their sentence with unfortunately. But then at the same time, they have to build the story. So for example, fortunately, we could start today's webinar on time. Unfortunately, there is no light in my room right now, but I think the sensor is not working. Okay, so basically you can kind of then keep building on. So these are some of the activities. Use games, again, another useful idea.